Today we illustrate the process of uploading a mod pack to CurseForge, and we do a little testing after the fact too on Origin. So enjoy the explosions. Fifth, Grampy Jag is doing some development here. We are working on Immersive Rail Expeditions with SteamPunkBobby. I'm doing predominantly most of the development. He's kind of helping me out with the rail end of the things and some of the details. But the first thing we needed to do was we needed to get a grouping of mods that would work together, and I had everything working together. I took something out, started checking the world, see what the mechanics were like, and decided to put it back in, and now it doesn't work. So something has changed in between. I'm also waiting on CurseForge to approve, disapprove, whatever. It's been uploaded like 6 times and disapproved like twice. And it's been, as you see, at least 5 hours since the last changes. At this rate, I'm just going to re-upload the next version, and they can just skip over this part and get it to the point where Bobby can start downloading it and looking at stuff from his end. So what I'm doing right now, I am slowly adding things back. I had embers in here at one point and decided it was redundant. Found out no, it probably wasn't. So tried embers, rekindled, and now I am on embers unofficial extended life, trying to find one of them that will work. So I added embers unofficial extended life. It looked like the one with the most updates and being most up to date. Knock wood, because I've never had any luck with any of these forks before. I've always had to go back to the original embers by, I believe it was Illucent. So in any case, this is what we're doing. I just added a bunch more things in, and we are about to start her up and see if it crashes. So I added in the cluster that is Railcraft and Magneticraft. Those are the last of the... And that's what's bothering it, is something in one of those two. Let's see if we can figure anything out here. Unexpected issue. That's not what it did the last few times. It says there was an ID overflow the last couple times. I am not an expert at reading this, and in the way my eyes are janked up at the moment, reading this little script is very difficult. Man, this is a long report. Let's get down. Yeah, we don't care about that. Nothing there stands out. Okay, I don't see anything that stands out. Okay, we don't want to send the report in. We're just looking for a problem. So now this is where we get to backtrack a little bit. So Magneticraft has to go off. And hopefully that took all of its stuff with it. And Railcraft goes off along with rail stuff. And we're going to run it one more time just to make sure everything is not conflicting. Used to be the mods that other mods depended on, the dependents, would automatically download themselves and would automatically turn themselves on and off if they weren't needed. It doesn't work quite that easily anymore. This is what happens when you get too many legitimate, and I air quote that, programmers, because programmers don't think like normal people do. You let them get their fingers in too deep unsupervised and nothing starts making sense. It's kind of like if you let CEOs or politicians get involved, it starts going off the rails. So now we're going to load again, and so far so good. I just make sure it gets all the way through here before I add anything back again. So you got to ask yourself, out of the two, which is more important? Quite honestly, Railcraft is in here primarily for tanks and things like that, which I do have in other mods, so it's kind of redundant in a lot of ways. Or Magneticraft, which I've never actually played, but I understand is very similar to immersive engineering. Has a couple of different concepts, couple different ways of doing things. But I really need Embers as a bridge between better with mods and immersive. There is a disjunction the way better with mods handles some of the smelting and such. Isn't bad. It means you're going to have to work a little bit harder, but it will make it, and that worked. Okay, so everything's working. Now we can start adding back. And this can take hours just to find one little thing. Let's go and quit again. All right, so tell you what. Let's add everything but those two groups of mods. Slowly. We're not going to touch Magneticraft. We'll go down to Minecraft Metallurgy, or yeah, Mineralogy. Let me find out my thing here. Mineralogy. So that's got a bunch of secondaries, which shouldn't conflict with any of this other stuff. Unless it's just a random, weird thing. I preferred developing on multi-MC, but multi-MC kind of dropped by the wayside. It was a lot easier going through their reports to find what was causing a problem. It would identify the mod, it would identify the line, if there was a line in a script or something, it would identify all kinds of good information. It wasn't necessarily in English, but it was close enough I could pick it out. These reports are not user-friendly to the layman. I'm not quite a layman, I'm not an expert either. I'm in the middle, in that gray zone someplace. Which is why I don't actually code mods. I would love to have a couple of mods done. Anybody likes programming out there, knows how to program for 1.12.2. I'll even give you the Forge version I typically use, which is not the latest, because the latest doesn't work. Mods built on the latest for 1.12.2 tend to not work. Not when you start combining things. It was convenient y'all saw that crash. I hadn't had it crash for about an hour. And with everything you add, it takes that much longer to get to the end to find out that it ain't going to work. I had already started working on the configs and such, getting those updated. Bother. I couldn't fix anything in the configs that I needed to fix. So that's why we're going back with Embers. Embers lets me smelt metals for more than nuggets. Okay, all those took. We go back and do another round. So let's see what we've got. Mine tweaker recipe maker shouldn't be a problem. I'm not gonna, you know, open glider won't. So I guess we're only doing these three. If anything's going to cause a problem, it's going to be Modern Ruins pack, because that's something I've never used before. It's interesting. Creates mega structures using stuff out of immersive engineering and the like. Huge towers, facilities. There's an old set of atomic power plant cooling towers. It's kind of cool. And play and play. And now we sit and twiddle our thumbs again. So I may come back and after I get closer to homing in on what the issue is, and we'll touch base again, I guess, because right now it's just a waiting game. Test and wait, test and wait, test and wait. So we will catch you hopefully in a little bit. Winner, it turns out our problem was with Railcraft, which I've had Railcraft and used Railcraft for years. I don't believe Railcraft and Embers are the problem. I think there's a third party problem out there someplace. That's what my belief is. It's interacting with both of them, but that's harder to track down. Let's see if there's any. It doesn't look like anybody has gone and forked or rebuilt Railcraft. When's the last version that was out? That was in 22 and a beta. I was running, and I have been running the release down here. I tried a couple different versions of the beta, and whatever it is conflicting with Embers, seemingly. The way to do it would be to start a brand new pack up and just have Embers and Railcraft in there and watch it not interfere, which is what I suspect would happen. That said, I'm a-thinking, I know, dangerous thing, I'm a-thinking it is time to do another version for upload, since I have all that stuff done with the config file. So what we do is we go in here for share profile, and we're going to export as a zip. Okay. And then it's Immersive Rail Expeditions. It's going to be 1.1.002. That's not a 2, that's a 2. And we're going to set our RAM. I thought I had this set for 1,000. I'll leave it at 1,200. I could swear it was at 1,000 or 10,000. That's what we had it as. All right, so then we're not going to do server mods only. We're going to go, I don't need cache. I might need structures. No add-ons, no saves, no logs at this point. I'll put the scripts folder in even though there's nothing in it. Resource packs. Those are huge. Oh my God, the train resource packs are huge. Schematics, we'll put that in because we might be using that eventually. I don't need the log or the JSONs. I think that's good to export. And then it's going to ask me, so where do you want it? So you see I've got it right here, 1.1.002. 1.001. We now have 1.1.002. And we'll save it. And it'll crunch until it's done. So there it is there. And we're going to come in here. We're going to come in here. Jeez. Maybe not. Stop that. God, I wish I could see. Really need to get these eyes looked at. All right. So I'm going to edit this. I am going to upload. Yeah, we're going to upload 02. That brings that out. We're going to publish automatically. Mod loader is going to be Forge. And it's going to be 112.2 because that's all we do is 112.2. Because who would want anything else, right? Type is going to be still alpha. Changelog. We actually can put stuff in the changelog. All right, and that's about all that was done. We didn't do much in there. Mostly the configs. Working on stuff there. Howdy. Welcome to Immersive. Let's try this again. Let's put our sound up a little bit. Howdy, this is Grampy Jag, and this is development of Immersive Rail Expeditions. Taking you on a walkthrough of kind of how I go and develop stuff. So, I have just come into the world. See, nice, beautiful world. It's kind of pretty, I think so. Anyhow, just come into the world. Oh, I didn't want to hit that. Did I? No, I didn't. I wanted to hit that. There we go. Came into the world. We're just going to do our normal thing. We're going to grab our torch. We're going to break our chest. I don't know how many times I've done this. We're going to push our things to the correct places. Bloop. Bloop, 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 bloop. And we're really not going to do a whole heck of a lot today, at least in this session, because I'm just checking something. I am checking the changes I made in the configuration files having to do with ore generation. And this is going to be a little difficult because I have immersive. Yeah, you know, if I was smart, I would have turned off immersive geology first, or mineralogy. Yeah, because I'll show you, and then we'll pop back after I turn it off. I'll spawn a new world, and yeah, do the same thing. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to creative. See how easy that is in 112.2? Can't do that in the higher ups. Now I'm flying. See how I'm flying. And I'm going to show you why I need to have immersive mineralogy turned off. Let's go. Here's a nice, well, it's got a lot of water. Ooh, we get to look at pretties too. There's more water. Trying to avoid water and lava for this. And tar or oil or anything fluidic, which is going to be a little difficult, it looks like. So I guess this is as good as going to be. I have just created a hole. And you're saying, oh my God, how did you do that? Well, this is something you don't want to have in your final release. This is called World Stripper. And what it does is it literally strips your world. And you'll see, I only went down 5 or 8 blocks because I hit all of this. And this is mineralogy blocks. And these run through the entire world. So for me to get an actual look at the distribution of ores, I am going to have to go out and turn off mineralogy and then come back in. So I am going to leave you all for just a moment while I go do that, and we'll restart the world, and hopefully this stuff won't be here. If it is, we'll just restrip it someplace else. Be back in a minute. By the by, the name of the mod is Minecraft Mineralogy. We are going to create a new blank world. We're just going to call it New World because we ain't going to keep it. We are going to make it in creative. And I typically test out things in biomes of plenty. And I either make the biomes tiny or small. Usually it's small. Rarely I'll go medium, and I'll leave pretty much everything else alone when I'm just checking, origin or something like that. So let's go. Oh, and I always put the chest. Don't ask me why I do that. I just do. So it's going to chink along and use a random seed and create a random new world and take longer than I got words for. Yay! And yeah, we've got some flags. I'll show you those real quick. Because rock hounding is trying to modify some things that aren't there anymore. Which is why we went into a new world, so we wouldn't mess up one that we are working in. Where's our box? There it is. For the most part, just going to use it to chuck the stuff in. We're not going to use it in here. We are, however, going to go up. And are we on an island? That could be annoying. Well, hi, Mr. Enderman. Okay, these are not the best things to strip to check ore distribution. We'll go up to the mesa. I'll show you how you do these. Anyhow, I'm going to use World Stripper, and I'm going to strip the world. Ha ha! And it says success, but nothing happened because we got to get rid of all this terracotta. So the way we're going to do that, we get ourselves some flint and steel, TNT, and a torch. There we go. So we're going to come down here. We're going to put one. We're going to back off a little bit. It works better if you do it from an angle. Set it, fly up, goes boom. There we go. Now that we got the first one done, we can start stacking them. So the first one will set the second one off. And we're through. Alright, so this is how you can check for ore distribution. So we've got metallurgy. Man, that music has gotten really loud again. I don't know why it surges up like that. You got your regular ores. This is from rock hounding. You got your terracotta up there. We got more of your metallurgy ores. So things are spawning, which is good. And we just want to kind of make sure everything's here. We got siderite. Hi. Manganese. Gold. We got our rocks from rock hounding. Yep. Looking good. I'm going to try and get these metallurgy rocks to show up in different biomes later. There's provision for it in the what do you call it there, in the configs, and we'll play with that here now that we know that they're actually spawning. Platinum ore. There should be others. There should be bright blue platinum ore someplace. See, most of these metallurgy ores are down deep. There's a few that aren't. Either. Alright, I am not seeing any of the regular platinum, but that's not unusual because you only get like one per stripped zone. So we'll go back up. So for an initial look, it looks pretty decent. There we go. Let's see if we can find another landmass. Here's a nice area. What is that? Oh, that's ice. Okay. There we go. We stripped it out. Now you can see the various ores since we don't have the mineralogy layers in there. So we have both mineralogy and we have rock hounding. Rock hounding gives you these clouds of different ornamental stone that you can use to build with. It's really fantastic. Used it for years. And mineralogy's got a whole different set. And unfortunately seems to interfere or may interfere a little bit with the formation of these clouds. I'm not finding quite so much, and I don't know if it's that I'm not finding it or if it's just because it's so much harder to dig through the mineralogy strata. Oh, hush. And again, I'm looking for, there it is. There's the other platinum. So you get like one if you're lucky. So it looks like it's working. I'd be happier if I could get all of these mineralogy, or not, or metallurgy, that's it, metallurgy 4 reforged ores to show up in different biomes. That would be fan-freaking-tastic because we're trying to set up a what you would call an economy of sorts. And if you have a certain area that's got a lot of, say, alpine type biomes, seeing as we got one sticking up out of the ocean, and there's something that's found only in alpine biomes, and you got the market cornered on it, I mean, you can trade that then. It becomes a trade good if we can find something to use it for. That's going to be the other trick, is finding something to use infuscolium ore for that isn't already built into the metallurgy pack, which is basically weapons and armor. There ain't much else you can use it for. In my Dcraft pack, I could put this into, use this really well late in the pack if I can localize it to specific biomes. So I don't know if we're going to keep that in this pack or if I'm going to move it over to Dcraft, but it's an interesting mod. And that is Metallurgy 4 Reforged. And like I say, the one you're not seeing that you saw earlier is Minecraft Mineralogy. So I have been and continue to be Grampy Jag, and I'll bring you more little nuggets about development, game theory, game playing, art, horticulture, that means gardening. Numerous other fiber crafts, numerous other things that I have touched on in my life, or my wife has made me touch on in my life, or circumstance. Wow, this is kind of cool. I'm flying in circles. Yay. At least it looks that way. Dun, dun. There we go. I am the god of the world. This is my server world. Ha 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 ha. I smite thee. Yeah. Well, gotta have your fun. Writing, etc., etc., etc. So stay tuned. It's never a dull moment. I'm always zigzagging someplace, and this time it was game development. So catch you later. Bye. Oh, don't forget to hit that like, thumbs up, leave a comment, buy me a coffee. You know, all the YouTube stuff you're supposed to do. The more you do, the more I can do. The more I can do, the happier you'll be. The happier you are, the more coffee I get. Makes us all happy if you have enough coffee in your life. So, later. God, it's getting dark. I don't want to back up. I want sound. There we go. Is that enough? Can you hear? Can you hear? Let's try that. Howdy. Welcome back. Yeah, that didn't work either. Howdy. Welcome back. I'd like to introduce... Yeah, I can't get the introduction right today. Jeez.